Hey guys, this is Jim West with Carolina Varsity, and I'm going to talk about the way too early 2A top 25 for 2017. The 2A is 30% of the football programs in North Carolina. You're going to have 112 to 114 teams that will play football, which last year was 98. They were in 2A, so it has grown. Hasn't really grown from the 1A side much, maybe a little bit. About I think net about three teams, 3 or 4 teams. It's really grown from the top, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Number one I have is Shelby. I think Shelby is almost a no-brainer. The question to me is whether they're going to go small 2A or big 2A. I performed a projection, a very ugly, butchered projection right now, if based on the ADM numbers from 2016, and I'm showing Shelby would be the smallest of the big 2A, the 2AA teams at this point. And of course, you know what? Just never know. I mean, schools. You just never know from one year to another if transfers are going to come in, or if you're going to see redistricting in some form or fashion. But Shelby's just loaded. They lost some really good players, but they simply reload. To me, they're either going to be the favorite at 2A or 2AA. Number two is West Craven. One thing I like about West Craven is they play just some of the best defense around. They beat Havelock last year when West Craven was a 3A team, only to lose to them in the playoffs. I do think West Craven has the defense that could hold a team like Shelby in check. Would they beat Shelby? I don't think so, but you know what? If there's a team that could beat Shelby in the 2As, I think it would be West Craven at this point. Number three is North Davison. North Davison was a 4A team in the last realignment, and now they're going to be 2A. You might ask why are they going down to 2A, and there's a reason. There's a new high school, I believe it's called Oak Grove, that's being built. That's going to take some of the overload from North Davison and Ledford, I believe, and it's going to be interesting. I do think North Davison is going to be a really good 2A team for the next couple of years. Some of the talent's probably going to end up over in Oak Grove. Some of the feeder schools will probably feed more to Oak Grove in the future, but North Davison is just simply loaded. Could they beat Shelby? Yes. Will they beat Shelby? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it'd be very tough. The fourth team is South Point, which is one of Shelby's conference opponents. And I do think South Point has a really good defense. They are a team that I believe they won the last 10 games of the season last year. Of course, they won the big, or this is going to be the small 3A last year. And they settled the score of Rocky Mounts. Do I think they can beat Shelby? Again, that's a question I keep on asking. I don't see it, but anything is possible. Shelby would have to play their A game. If they play their A game, they'll beat South Point. If they don't, anything can happen. Number five is Clinton. I like Bob Lewis. I think he's one of the best when it comes to building a football program. Clinton will be big 2A unless something dramatically happens. I think their running game and their defense is what's going to keep them head and shoulders above almost any team not named West Craven in the East. Number six I have is Reidsville, and they lost a lot of seniors from this last team. The one thing though is I think they have enough talents and enough depth that as the season progresses, they'll be right in the hunt. And the problem with Reidsville is they come from a very weak conference. Teams like Graham and Cummings, who till about 2 or 3 months ago, we didn't even know they were going to have a football team, or didn't know for sure. Bartlett Yancey, which has been one of the weaker teams in the state over the years, and then Carborough, who actually had a forfeit about 3 or 4 games back in, I believe it was 2015, from lack of numbers. So that's going to hurt Reidsville. What's going to help Reidsville is playing a very tough non-conference schedule. They do play Northwest Guilford and they play High Point Andrews. I believe those are two really good games. There are some other 3A teams that are from growing programs that I keep an eye out on that Reidsville will play. But Reidsville should win all their games. They might drop Northwest Guilford and High Point Andrews. I think I'd have to say Riesel would be probably a couple touchdown favorite over Andrews, but we shall see. That's the top six in the two way for 2017. Thank you for joining me.